Well, good afternoon. I'm Jeff Haverdink, and this is my brother Tim. We are Dave and Judy's sons. We are humbled and grateful that so many of you have come out today, and many more yesterday, to pay your respects to Dad, our family, and show your support to Mom. We can't thank each of you enough. David Haverdink was known to each of us in so many different ways. As we know, Dad was a fairly active guy in his whole life. For a lot of you, you knew Dad by his unit numbers on the radio. For those that go way back into Allegan County law enforcement history, you may remember Dad as Robert 5 when he was a reserve deputy throughout the 80s. Later, after becoming sheriff, he was known to you as X-Ray 1 and loved being out on the road with you all, supporting the men and women of the Sheriff's Department. Many are here today in honor of Dad's service with the Hamilton Fire Department. Since the mid-80s, for a very long time, Dad was known as Hamilton 101. It was almost like his second formal name. And more recently, of course, with the new unit naming conventions, Dad was 801, which was a number we wrote on the whiteboard in his ICU room in the hospital, just so that everybody knew who he was. David was also known as Commissioner Haverdink in Allegan County. For a long time, he was a sales rep and business owner at Hamilton Distributing. For many of you, he was a cousin, an uncle, and a brother. To a select few, David Haverdink was cherished as Grandpa, Dad, and husband, Dave. Most importantly of all, Dad was and is still a child of God. So Tim and I grew up differently. We didn't know it at the time, but we had a unique and super cool childhood. Tim and I didn't know until later in life that it was possible for a family to all ride together to church in one vehicle, because we never did. We always took two cars just in case Dad got a call. May heaven help us if Tim and I accidentally left our toys out on the floor. The well-known path through the house must remain obstacle-free at all times in case Dad had to run out of the house at night. Heaven forbid he would step on something. Do any of you here remember the fire phone? Well before there was 911 and pagers. For those that don't, back in the 1800s, it was a direct phone number wired to all the firefighters' homes and businesses that someone in need would literally call for emergency help. All right, for those in the room, this is audience participation. Do you remember that phone number? Everybody ready? 751-4444. It's ingrained in our memories. In our house, when that special ring pattern would call in, Tim and I instantly sprang to the TV to turn off the volume, remain deathly quiet so that Dad could hear the caller on the other end of the phone. Neither one of us made a noise, because if we did, we got the look, the death look. Tim and I would sit by his chair and listen to the scanner in the family room, knowing who most of the guys were by their voices on the radio. We knew all the truck numbers, and then we would beg Mom to drive us to go to whatever was happening, to see all the action. On rare occasions, she would cave in, but it was rare. Dad didn't want us to get in the way. When we were out with Mom and Dad in Holland or something, away from Hamilton, we'd secretly pray for Dad's pager to go off so we could ride along with Dad to the call in his Chevy Blazer, lights and sirens a-blaring. Those are great memories. That was the unique side of our childhood, but there's so much more. Dad and Mom always had a sense of adventure and exploration. Mom said it's partly what drew her to Dad. Fun fact, Dad picked up Mom one morning to go on a date. Little did Mom know that date included driving all the way up to the Mackinac Bridge for the day, just to drive across the bridge, check it out, come back. Great. For Tim and I, we had such a great childhood. We followed Dad around the house and were outside with him all the time. We watched him and learned a whole lot while doing so. We learned how to drive the garden tractor and mow the lawn at a very early age. I think I was like 5. But only in the backyard to start, because it took a long time to learn how to get those lawn mowing lines perfectly straight. They had to be perfectly straight. We were not allowed to do the front yard for years because we had to get it just right. We learned how to properly wash and clean vehicles of all shapes and sizes. You always start at the top and work your way down. Heaven forbid you were to overspray and get Dad wet. That was bad, not good. A couple times a month, we had to wash the garage and scrub it with Tide laundry detergent. So we would be out there in the garage scrubbing the floor. Fun fact, many of the Hamilton Fire Department trucks today carry at least a gallon or 2 of Dawn dish soap, just in case the road surface is oily and needs cleaning before being reopened. Dad and Tim always tried to avoid tulip time. Wasn't their thing. But deep inside, I'm pretty sure my dad was a closet street scrubber himself. Beyond learning skills from Dad around our home, Mom and Dad both blessed Tim and I with countless family experiences and memories, and it pains us to not be able to share them all. But we'll never forget spending countless summer days out on Lake Michigan on the boat, always inviting friends and family to enjoy it with us. As Anna said, Dad loved the water and boating. It was part of his soul, and like Anna said, it's part of ours too. Wonderful summer memories being on Slinks Beach along Lake Michigan to hang out with extended family and friends. Annual boat trips up north with friends, exploring beautiful lakes and rivers, but always the first week of August. It's always the best weather. It's usually true. Downhill ski trips, especially our first with the entire Haverdink family to Sugarloaf. We were terrified, but it was a good time. Our favorite night of the year with the Prinz family on Christmas Eve at Mom and Dad's basement, a beautiful core memory for us Prinz cousins. Or how about the Memorial Day annual water fights at Mom and Dad's house afterward? Tim and I were fortunate to be a part of Mom and Dad's love of travel, family trips across the country, out west, east, and incredibly fun memories of spring break trips to Panama City Beach with lifelong friends. And then for Tim and I, a bit later in life, we got to meet a Dave Haverdink we had not seen before. And you might ask, why? Simple. Grandkids. Where did this guy come from? It was both surprising and beautiful to see Dad as a grandpa. His grandkids brought to the surface the softer, more tender, deeply loving side of him that was always there, but yet hadn't been often seen to that point. You've heard from his grandkids already. Amazing foundational family memories and traditions were formed these past 20 years. First and foremost, our annual annual summer trip to Torch Lake. Those days are precious to our family. The kids would ride with Grandpa in the fire trucks the Memorial Day parade through Hamilton every year. And more recently, building a little cabin in the gully behind Mom and Dad's house. A special little family hideaway where we could all simply sit, talk, share stories, play, laugh as a family, just being together in the quiet woods. With great blessing, there are just too many stories to tell. Mom, Tim and I, and our families cannot thank you and Dad enough for the incredible blessing we have because of what you and Dad built for us. You and Dad laid the foundation for the importance of faith, family, love, commitment, service to others, adventure, and how to have fun along the way. We can't sum it up enough, but as best we can, we thank you and Dad both for the legacy you created and have now entrusted to us to steward for generations to come. We love you deeply. And now to all of you here, on behalf of Mom, Tim, and I, we want to thank you for your love and support of all of us during this time. To members of so many local, state, and fire agencies, Elgin County Sheriff's Office, U of M Health West, AMR, Holland Police Department, Langland Sternberg, and I apologize because I probably forgot a bunch of you, I'm sorry. We cannot express our thanks enough for the countless hours spent these past few weeks caring for Dad and helping to prepare this incredibly meaningful and honored way to remember him. We are so humbled and grateful for all you have done. As Tim and I wrap up our memories of Dad, there's one final thing we must do on our Dad's behalf. I would like to ask, please, both current and former members of Hamilton Fire Department to please stand up. Both current and former members, please stand up. There are some former members in this audience, including my brother Tim, who served with Dad for 23 years in Hamilton Fire. To all of you, on behalf of our Dad and your chief, he would want to thank each of you for your service to the community, for your dedication and loyalty to each other, for your professionalism and the pride you took in doing the difficult work you did so well. Dad was so proud to serve with you all, no matter when that was. Dad loved you all. You were his second family. The bond you all share was something only you all understand. It is special and it is deep. Our family thanks you for caring well for our husband, Dad, and Grandpa. We shared him with you, and it was our honor to do so. Now carry on, Hamilton Fire. Chief trained you well. You know what to do and how to do it with honor. Continue to take good care of each other, and thank you for caring so deeply for the community that you serve. Please stay standing. Please stay standing. I would now like to ask all the spouses and children of current and former Hamilton firefighters to please stand up. So spouses and children. On behalf of our Dad and Chief Haverdink, he would want to thank you deeply for sharing your spouses and parents with the Hamilton Fire Department over these many years. Dad knew all the many missed birthday parties, holidays, special gatherings, and countless times in which your husband or Dad, Mom, was not there. Dad knew that without the support and understanding of the families behind the members of the fire department, none of what they did together would be possible. My dad, our dad, would want to thank you once more for sharing your loved ones with the Hamilton Fire and the community that they serve. Thank you for the sacrifices you as families made for your parents to be a part of it. You may be seated. Dad, we all love you. We are extremely proud of you and always have been. Thank you for a life well lived and for setting an example for us all. Dad, we will see you again one day. We share your assurance of salvation through Christ, and we will spend eternity with you. Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. Amen.